Hello, this is Reiki Master Angelia with Works of Hearts, Reiki 3, a natural complementary healing training program, part 2. Last time we had talked about doing healing from the Hayashi Healing Guide. We were talking about the blood exchange or circulation. And we're going to pick back up on doing healing for cerebral hemorrhage, intracerebral bleeding, cerebral thrombosis, etc. So for that, you're going to want to treat the head, the heart, the kidneys, the stomach, the intestines, the liver, the spinal cord, and any paralyzed areas. Next for polio. Now this is something that's not really found much here in the United States, but it's still found in some other countries. Occasionally it happens. You're going to want to treat the spinal cord, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, the sacrum, the paralyzed area, if any, the head, and the blood exchange. For neuralgia, which I've had horrible neuralgia in my head, just like a shooting pain, like, a bolt of lightning is coming in my eye and shooting through my head, and recently I've started having it on both sides, so that's not cool. Palsy, neural spasticity, and migraines, which I occasionally have too, not so much anymore since I started my CBD oil, so that has helped. You want to treat the affected area, the liver, the pancreas, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, the head, the spinal cord, and the blood exchange. Note, pay attention to the womb and ovaries in a female or the, testes in a male. Okay, beriberi. Again, not a common thing here in the United States, but occasionally it comes up with things. You're going to want to treat the stomach, the intestines, the heart, the liver, the pancreas, the kidneys, any paralyzed or edematous, swollen area, and the blood exchange. Graves' disease, and if you remember, one of the Mrs. Bushes, the elder Mrs. Bush, had that. You're going to want to treat the womb, the ovaries, the stomach, the intestines, the liver, the pancreas, the heart, the thyroid, the eyes, the kidneys, the spinal cord, and the blood exchange. The next one is epilepsy. I've known some people to have that. You're going to want to treat the liver, the pancreas, the head, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, the spinal cord, and the blood exchange. Number 13 is convulsions. I've known some people to have those too. The liver, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, the spinal cord, the shoulders, the arms, the elbow joint area, the wrist, and the head. Okay. Chorea, again, not something that happens a lot here, but it can happen in the world. You're going to want to treat the liver, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, the spinal cord, the spastic area at the legs and arms, the head, and the blood exchange. Number 15 is seasickness. My fiance has that. You're going to want to treat the stomach, the solar plexus, and the head. Number 16 is food poisoning. I've unfortunately had that. You're going to want to treat the stomach, the solar plexus, the liver, the pancreas, the intestines, the heart, the kidneys, the head, and the blood exchange. Infectious diseases are the next category. Number 1 is typhoid or paratyphy. Again, not something we have a lot here, but it can happen. So you're going to want to treat the liver, the pancreas, the spleen, the stomach, the intestines, the heart, the kidneys, the spinal cord, and the head. Number 2 is dysentery. Again, not something we have a lot here. Cholera, children's dysentery, and others. But, in other parts of the world, that's a common thing. You're going to want to treat the stomach, the intestines, the liver, the pancreas, the kidneys, the heart, the head, and the blood exchange. Number 3 is measles. We didn't used to have that a lot here, and you should get your children vaccinated. I'm a believer in vaccinations. But as we have more foreign immigrants coming in that don't have vaccinations, it's coming back. A disease will make a comeback if it can. So you're going to want to treat the throat, the trachea, the bronchi, the stomach, the intestines, the heart, the kidneys, the spinal cord, and the head. Number 4 is scarlet fever. My dad and my grandma had that. That's not something that we have a lot now, but it can still happen. You're going to want to treat the throat, the chest, the kidneys, the stomach, the intestines, the bladder, the head, and the blood exchange. Number 5 is varicella. You're going to want to treat the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, the blood exchange, and the affected area, usually that area, and your head. Number 6 is influenza. You're going to want to treat the nose, the throat, the trachea, the bronchi, the lungs, the liver, the pancreas, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, the head, and the blood exchange. Number 7 is whooping cough, another thing that we kind of got rid of for a while, but it's trying to make a comeback. You're going to want to treat the nose, the throat, the bronchi, apex of the lungs, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, and the blood exchange. Number 8 is diphtheria. Again, another one that we vaccinated against and got rid of for a while. But, like I said, a disease will make a comeback if it can. You're going to want to treat the throat, the trachea, the nose, the lungs, the heart, the liver, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, and the blood exchange. Number 9 is malaria. We don't have a lot of that here in this country. And, the cases that we have are usually down south where they have bad mosquito situations. But a lot of people travel to other countries as missionaries or, charity workers or whatever and can get this. So you're going to want to treat the pancreas, the spleen, the liver, the heart, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, the spinal cord, and the blood exchange. Number 11 is tetanus. You know, if you need it, get those tetanus shots, because that's no fun. Excuse me. You're going to want to treat the jawbone, the back of the head, the throat, the lungs, the affected area, because it can usually show up in, different areas, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, and the spinal cord. Note, in the case of puerperal tetanus, treat the womb, or, the male counterpart. In the case of primary child, treat the navel. Meaning if, it's a young kid. Number 12 is articular rheumatism. You hear that? Muscular rheumatism. Number 1, treat the affected area. The heart, the chest, the liver, the pancreas, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, the spinal cord, and the head. Number 13 is rabies. Treat the affected area, the heart, the liver, the kidneys, the stomach, the intestines, the spinal cord, the throat, the head, and the blood exchange. And now we're going to move on to whole body diseases. The first one is anemia, leukemia, and scorbutus. And these are grouped like this because you treat the same areas for these. So first you're going to want to treat the heart, the liver, the pancreas, the stomach, the intestines, the kidneys, the spinal cord, and the blood exchange. Number 2 is diabetes. You're going to want to treat the liver, the pancreas, the heart, the stomach, the intestines, the bladder, the kidneys, the head, the spinal cord, and the blood exchange. Number 3 is dermatological diseases, dermatitis and, things of that nature. You're going to want to treat the stomach, the intestines, the liver, the kidneys, the affected area where it's flaring up on your body, and the blood exchange. Number 4 is obesity, adiposis. Treat it the same as diabetes. Again, we'll go back over that. You're going to want to treat the liver, the pancreas, the heart, the stomach, the intestines, the bladder, the kidneys, the head, the spinal cord, and the blood exchange. Scrofula, which is something, I hadn't heard of. If you don't know what it is, you can also do what I did and Google that. You're going to want to treat the affected area, the stomach, the intestines, the liver, the heart, the chest, the kidneys, the spinal cord, and the blood exchange. Okay, now we're moving on to other diseases that you can treat with Reiki. The first is infantile convulsion. My brother had a grand mal seizure when he was a baby. So this is something that can happen. You're going to want to treat the heart, the head, the stomach, the intestines. Number 2, syphilis in infants. Unfortunately, that can also happen. You're going to want to treat the affected area, the head, the intestines. Wrong position of the fetus, breech. I had a friend who had a baby who was breech. You're going to want to treat the womb, and of course the vaginal area. Number 4, pregnancy. You're not really treating it. It's not a disease, but it can help you ease into labor. I didn't know anything about natural healing or anything with my first 2, and it was pretty rough. By my third one, I had learned about Gregorian chants, and I listened to Gregorian chant tape on my little Walkman while I was in labor, and it went so much quicker and easier. So someone could argue because it was my third, but it still did. And I didn't have near the pain, and it was so much better. So anyway, when you're treating someone who's pregnant, you want to treat the womb continually throughout the pregnancy, and the growth of the fetus will be healthy. Number 5, birth of the baby. You want to treat the sacrum and the lumbar spine, because this is what's really getting the pressure as you're pushing, on the baby. And some people want their Reiki practitioner to be there, especially if they double as a doula. I know some, doulas who do that. So, note, if you treat these areas, after 12 labor pains, the baby will be born very easily. If you keep on treating these areas after the birth of the baby, the afterbirth will be easy as well. And that's according to, Mr. Hayashi. I ain't going to say 12, and that's done. Different babies are different. Number 6, death of a fetus. That's really sad. That's happened to a couple of my older relatives back in the day. If you treat the womb, the dead fetus will naturally come out on the same day or the next day. And again, that's what he says. We really can't say that, for sure, but surely it does make it easier. Number 7, cessation of mother's milk. If you treat around the breast and mammary glands, the mother will soon start having milk. Number 8, morning sickness. You're going to want to treat the womb, the stomach, the solar plexus, the intestines, the kidneys, the head, and the spinal cord. And I had hypermedes gravidium really bad with my first 2. I was sick for 8 months with my first one and 6 months with my second one. And, about 3 months, with my third. So, erysipelas, if you don't know, you can Google that too. There's several of these that, we don't have commonly here in the United States. So we're like, what is that? Or they don't call it that. And you have to kind of look it up and say, oh, okay. If I ever run across that, there we are. You want to treat the affected area, the stomach, the intestines, the liver, the heart, the kidneys, the spinal cord, and the blood exchange. Hyperhidrosis. You're going to treat the kidneys, the affected area, and the blood exchange. Then liver burns. Put one hand 1 or 2 inches away from the affected area. When the pain is gone, put the hand on this area and do it again, just to be sure it's healed. Number 12, a cut by a sword. Now, most of us are not going to have this problem. So, we can apply this to a cut by a knife, because most of us in the kitchen are more likely to cut ourselves with a knife than a cut by a sword. Needless to say, you're going to want to get stitches for that. Treat as you press the cut with a thumb or a palm to prevent bleeding. Number 13, unconsciousness by falling or an electric shock, etc. You're going to teach the katsu, and again, that's in, Japanese. You can Google that, or you can get into Reiki more, learn about this stuff. You treat the heart and the head. Number 14 is drowning. Let the patient throw up water. Treat the katsu, the heart, and the head. Number 15, menopause. Yeah, we know about that, don't we, ladies over 50? Or also period pains for you ladies under 50. You're going to want to treat the womb, the ovaries, and the cranium. Yeah, because hormones go up there too. Give you a nasty, nasty headache. Watch out for the PMS. Number 16 is hiccups. They're painful. Mine are painful. I hate getting hiccups. You're going to want to treat the diaphragm, the liver, the pancreas, oh wow, the kidneys, the stomach, the intestines, the spinal cord, and the head. Number 17 is stuttering. Yeah, there's Reiki for stuttering. Who knew? You want to treat the throat, the head, and you can do a singing practice, a practice song. And they have the Japanese here, because of course Reiki's from Japan here. And it would be Miko no Koki Nai Dojo ga Sanbiki Nyoro 2. Okay. And the English translation of that would be, there are 3 loaches wiggling in the pond over there. So, you could practice that if you have a stuttering problem. And the second one would be in Japanese. Oya ga kaio nara koga kaio ko kaio ni mago kaio. In English, that be, the parent is kaio. His child is kaio. Son, kaio, and grandson, kaio. So, in other words, you all got the same name. Note, those who sing songs can be healed. An editor's note, I believe that Dr. Hayashi is saying that singing a song will help those that stutter. Number 18, pain. Very general. You want to treat the affected area. Vomiting. You want to treat the stomach, the solar plexus, the liver, the spinal cord at the back of the stomach, the head, and the kidneys. I itch my nose a lot when I'm sitting here. What you can't see is that my son's little dog is laying here on a pillow sleeping next to me while I do this, because she doesn't like to be without a human. She needs a support person. And I'm kind of allergic to her. So, yeah, I do start having some allergy symptoms while I sit here. Number 20 is splinter. You're going to treat the affected area. Note, when the pain leaves, the splinter comes up. You pull the splinter out at this moment. And again, Dr. Hayashi was a little over-explanatory on some things, Number 21, gonorrhea. You treat the urethra, the huiyin, the bladder, and the womb. Note, if it is orchitis, apply your hand lightly on the testicles. Now, that would be only with, I think, someone you really know. I would stay generally in the, magnetic to auric realm of a certain far away realm. I'm certainly not touching anybody's testicles. No offense. Number 22, spasms of pain, stomach cramps. You're going to want to treat the stomach, on the back of the stomach, the liver, the kidneys, the intestines, the head, and if it's just spasms of pain, like I have muscle spasms sometimes in my back or at my ribs, where they've, been broken, or where I have problems in my back, I'll have muscle spasms that go up, and so you want to treat the affected area. Number 23, hernia. As you touch the affected area lightly, it will contract by itself. Treat stomach and intestines. And again, with Reiki, you really aren't wanting to touch people. There is healing touch, and that's fine if you do. You might want to ask your patient or your client, because if you're a nurse, it's your patient. If you're just a healer, it's your client. How they feel about that. You just don't want to start grabbing on people. That's not cool. Blood exchange, or Katsuki Kokan, is a technique to get rid of dirty blood or dirty substances from the body. You stroke along the backbone of the patient from neck downward. Note from the editor: I believe this technique is to release negative energy from the aura of the patient. Katsu, we heard about that earlier, but we're going to explain it here. A technique to revive those who lost consciousness. And the easy way we pretty much do that is people go, hey, wake up. Okay. We're moving on to Gendai Reiki Healing Training Text. Gendai Reiki Ho Shoden Essence Picked Version. Number 1. Group Reiki. Many Reiki healers may perform Reiki healing on one person. Now, I've been to that at the Germantown Healing House years ago, and Reiki marathons. Each healer takes a turn performing Reiki healing all over a long period of time. Number 2, the hands are placed at the basic positions, especially the ones where this is an unhealthy, bad condition, the ones with self-symptoms. 3, if there are too many hands on the points, the healers can send Reiki energy, indirectly placing the hands on the shoulder or the back of the healers who have their hands on the positions. And I've actually seen this done, and actually some churches do this with laying on of hands, and then people laying on the hands of the person, in front of them and on like that. So, this is when there's usually a dire situation and a lot of people want to join in and try to heal this person. Reiki Mawashi, or Reiki circle, a Japanese method of sharing Reiki in a circle, used to circulate Reiki. Mawashi means circle or circulation. Every person holds the hands of the person beside them to make a circle. Alternatively, don't have a stroke. Each person places their right hand facing down over the next person's left hand, while their own left hand is facing up underneath the next person's right hand. This way, hands do not need to touch. You don't have to hold. You can do it like that to let the Reiki energy go from your palm to the next person's palm. But if you're okay with, touching hands, holding hands, that's fine. Internal Reiki energy power is increased and healing effect is expected. And again, this is usually when you got somebody with a serious problem, cancer, leukemia, that a lot of you want to get together and, do this. Or sometimes places just do this, like the Healing Center, for, fun, to get people to come in, get some exposure, say, hey, we're going to have a Reiki marathon. If you want to get healed, come on down, and we're going to do this thing. Well, that's all for now. That was our bell. So I hope this was educational and informational. Again, that was today's part 2 of Reiki 3 and Natural Healing, Complementary Healing Training Program. It's all for now. Until next time.